Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to say Shalom to Akunakwath out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's on the topic of speckled birds and tares. And I wanted to do this lesson notably because of yesterday's lesson that I made that was titled Prideful Lying Effeminate Demons Will Be, what was the full title? Will be terminated by the Lord. And one of the things that got this guy, all right, if you haven't seen the video, there was a bug out that came up to the brothers camp, Elder Menata Zatba and the other brothers camp. Sorry for not knowing that brother's name. The bug out came up to their camp, all right, of course, while they were, live and doing the live camp, and got all butthurt about really the biggest butthurt thing. And I think the elder even mentioned it was, because his girl's white, right? His girl's white, and, he was upset about it, and he gathered a little mob of Edomites, all right, and I think that guy might have been an Edomite himself, honestly, just by the way he was acting. I know some other brothers mentioned it as well, and he could just be a really lost two-third Jake, but that type of behavior, with how he was acting and the pride on top of it, and then doing all that stuff, and then getting all excited with Esau and stuff. He's either the ultimate coon, or he is just an Edomite himself, and I think he's probably just an Edomite himself. So and the brothers mentioned, it's not about a skin color thing. It's not about a skin color thing. And, the people that were up there, the Edomites, were not getting it. They were not getting it, all right, because they're Edomites. And that's what they'll do. They'll try to make it a skin color thing because they'll hear so-called white. That's why we say so-called white. We don't say white. We say so-called white. We say so-called black. All right, we say so-called Latino, so-called native, all right, so-called Latino, natives, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Slovakia, right? Or so-called black. You'll hear say so-called Chinese, so-called Japanese, so-called Arab people, right? So-called. That's as they're called. Now, that doesn't always mean that they are what they're called, all right? For example, or even necessarily how they look. And the elder talked about that as well. Dealing with the book, of Romans, that wasn't written to, Edomite Romans. That was written to Israelite Romans that were scattered abroad. And they might have even looked as to be a Roman, all right? And have those Edomite-like features of pale skin and maybe leprous hair and leprous eyes, right? Blue eyes, green eyes, red or blonde hair, right? So they might have those things, and that doesn't always mean you are what those things are, all right? Not every black-looking person is an Israelite. Not every white-looking person is an Edomite. Not every Asian-looking person is an Ammonite or a Moabite. Not every Middle Eastern-looking person is an Ishmaelite, right? And not even every Jewish-looking person is an Amalekite, right? Not every single one of them, right? Now, are the vast majority of them? Yes, okay? But there's underliers, so you can't write off a whole singular group, all right, based off of skin color. You'd have to examine them. You'd have to talk to them. You'd have to speak with them. You'd have to try them by their spirits, all right? There's a first scripture we can get. Try them by their spirit. This is 1 John 4:1. It says, Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Yahweh, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Now, this is dealing with, of course, false prophets and trying and see if they're speaking according to the word. But it's talking also about the trying of the spirits. And that trying of the spirits, you do it with false prophets, and you also do it with people that are coming amongst you, or, you're conversing with, and see, okay, is this person an Edomite perhaps? Or maybe are they perhaps a Jake? Or you might have people I've seen that are white looking, and I said, okay, this person's not a Jake, but I also don't think they're an Edomite. Okay, so you can't just, you're always writing off the Edomites, always writing off them. Every white person is an Edomite. No, there's been some white people, matter of fact, because I've been talking about this dental work I'm getting. I got the thing going tomorrow, so hey, you brothers want to pray for me, that'd be great. I know I'm gonna be praying. But yeah, getting these teeth removed. But Yeah, the guy that did my consultation or whatever. All right, he was so-called white-looking guy. I don't think he was an Edomite though. All right, just the way he acted. And even my wife, 'cause she's in this truth. She actually came in this truth before me. She was saying, yeah, I don't know. He might not have been an Edomite. I don't know. I couldn't really. He could have been just one of the chiller ones, but I'm not sure. I don't think he was necessarily a Jake, right? But you never know, man. You just never know. So we don't always write off every single white person as an Edomite. All right, no, there's certain white people. Eminem, he's not an Edomite. Who else? Trying to think. George Carlin, not an Edomite. Who else? Trying to think. Trying to think, man. I'm really trying to think of white-looking people that I can think of. There's more. I just can't think of them right at the moment. But yeah, there's more, man. And Eminem, for example, he looks like a so-called white person. He's not an Edomite. All right, that's an Israelite. All right, one of the tribes, probably Judah. All right, and you can just tell, man, just by the way that he is. Hell, actually, a famous rapper, one of the other rappers, said that Eminem's the only Eminem's the only white person to understand what it's like to be a ninja. All right, and censoring it for YouTube, right? That's what he said. Matter of fact, you can go and get that. Eminem is the only white rapper that knows. Let's see. Right here. It was Mike Tyson. It was Mike Tyson. That's what it was. He said, Eminem is the only white guy that knows what it's like to be a ninja. Rappers like him are born once every 50 years. Everything he has accomplished, it was not given to him. He has worked his ass off for it. People don't understand how insane what he has done is. Like, he came into a black culture and dominated it like it was his. Because it was. Many people don't admit how great he is because they're still living in denial that some can do what he did. No one can ever replicate this. No one. Right? So there you go. You can see it. So there were some other people, that talked about it. You're not, and that's another thing. He said he dominated. So if you're gonna say that, here it is. Jake is the salt of the earth. Jake is the one that really, has all the nations moved up, all right, and wanting to be like them, and they really are. They're like the it thing, right? They're the thing. They're the thing that everybody wants to be like, right? And you're going to say that an Edomite's going to come in and just do way better than an Israelite when an Israelite has that natural flow, that natural style, that natural salt, that natural seasoning, all right? The salt of the earth, you're going to say an Edomite's going to be better than Jake? No. So you're either saying that an Edomite is better than Jake, or whatever you say doesn't make sense, all right? Or he'd have to be not an Edomite, okay? And that's what it is. Eminem is not an Edomite, all right? He's an Israelite, and you can tell by the way he moves, the way he walks, okay? You can just tell he's not. And is he a little weird? Yeah, he's a little weird, but that don't mean nothing. I have this picture up here, this group of people, diverse, all right, typed in, diverse group of people, to show you that anybody in this picture right here could be either an Edomite or an Israelite or however, all right? This Asian-looking person right here could be an Israelite, okay? This woman right here that looks like a so-called Negro, she could be an Edomite, all right? And this person right here that looks like an Edomite could be an Israelite, okay? This guy in the back could be an Israelite, okay? And this woman back here, she could be an Edomite. She could be a terror. Even though she looks like a so-called black woman, she could be a terror, all right? At my job, that I haven't been in a while because of this issue, but there's a guy that comes through. His name's Chuck, I think, black guy. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. He acts like an Edomite. All right, there's two of them I'm thinking of. One of them I'm pretty sure is an Edomite. The other guy I'm almost 100% positive that guy's an Edomite. He comes in, has a hey, how are you doing? Absolutely. Always talking to white people. All right, so-called. And he wears an American a hat with an American flag on it. I think I saw him wearing a shirt with like an American flag tank top one time too. Edomite. He's an Edomite. You can just tell by the way he acts. And I can't flow with him at all. He's just weird. All right. There's people like that. There's this older woman that comes in. I can't remember her name. I don't know if it's Wanda or something like that. I think she's probably an Edomite, or just a really coon ass Uncle Tom ass Jake. All right. But just because somebody looks like some color doesn't mean that's what they are. All right. A white person that you see could be an Israelite, and a black person you see could be an Edomite. All right. Like I said, yesterday's lesson, this guy right here. Right here. I think this guy's an Edomite. All right. Look at him. He's dark. He's dark skinned. All right. Well, he's not really dark skinned, but you know, he's almost there. Right. But he's like almost. All right. He's like medium. Like he's really kind of ruddy if you see in his arm area, but he's he's probably an Edomite. Right. This guy. Okay. And there's other people. I know. I don't know if he's still in the camp. You know, Lord willing, he is. But I know down in GMS Phoenix. Let me go and see. How do you spell Phoenix? I always spell that word wrong. It's from 1 year ago. Let's see. Let's see if I can find him. He might not be in that one. Let me see. Bear with me. Let's see. There he is. His brother right here. All right. That looks to be what you would consider someone to be a so-called white person. All right. Some people would be like, "Oh, that's an Edomite." Well, an Edomite wouldn't be around the camp. That doesn't make any sense. All right. That's the same video. Let me see if I can find a live that has him in it. That's a little bit clearer. Let's see. Here it is. There you go. See? You consider that a so-called white person, would you not? All right. Hell, even myself. I can go to my page. All right. Look, you can look at me. I'd be considered a so-called white person. But you can see why I'm getting my teeth removed. Oh my gosh. Yeah. These teeth are bad, man. Oof. They're real bad. But I look like to be a so-called white. Yeah, you can see the chip in my tooth. It's all bad. Yeah, but won't be having to see that no more, Lord willing. But yeah, I look like a so-called white person, right? So, you know, and some people can see, you know, Latino features, right? But for the most part, you can see on the profile right here, I just look like a so-called white-looking person. Most people are like, oh, you're just a white guy, all right? Just a white guy, right? And it does not matter what you look like, okay? Not all that opening, all that intro, all that talking. How long did I ramble on for? Almost 14 minutes just to say it doesn't matter what you look like, okay? It doesn't matter if you're white looking or black looking or Mexican looking or however the fuck you look. It don't matter. It does not matter how you look at the end of the day, right? Because it's not about skin color. It's about lineage. It's about lineage, okay? And we're going to show you that first. We're going to get Jeremiah 12:9. And it reads, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. Now, if you look up a speckled bird, it's right in the name already. Speckled, all right? A speckled bird, all right? Where's that bird I like to use? Here it is, one of them. All right, you see purple, all right? You see darker purple, lighter purple. You see greens, a mix of aquamarine, bits of blue, yellow, brown, orange. All right, you got like darker, like umber right down here, like a goldish color down here. Several different colors, man. And if you go and look at this bird, all right, you got red, white, brown, tan, ruddy, and damn near black down here, right? You can go and see all these different spotted birds, man. They're different colors. They are different colors, okay? Different. Okay? So you're not gonna always be, you know, what that Judah looks like, dark melanated so-called black people. Yes, generally, naturally, yes. But you got to realize about the diaspora, all right? Let's go and get a scripture about that. This is Deuteronomy 4:27. It says, and the Lord, bear with me. Deuteronomy 4:27 says, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. Okay, this again, and there's more about the scattering. Let's see, ones that come to mind. Diaspora, KJV. There should be some scriptures about it. Scriptures. Slovakia, let me see. KJV scriptures about the scattering of Israel. So, Deuteronomy 28, that's right in the curses. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. That's the one I was looking for. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. We can get Leviticus 26:33. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and I will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Jeremiah 9:16. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. There you go. Ezekiel 12:15 says, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall scatter them among the nations and disperse them in the countries. So we were scattered abroad amongst heathens. All right, what is a heathen? Heathen. All right, a heathen, someone who is not a Christian. All right, Jew or Muslim. It goes, well, that's what they say, but no, even the Muslims and Jewish people are the real Jews. No, are not heathens, but not Christian. They kind of messed it up. Heathen is referring to anybody who is not an Israelite. All right, they are not an Israelite. Okay, if they are not an Israelite. Okay, so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. It doesn't mean they gotta look like them. Okay, it's through the bloodline. All right, let's go and get that. But the heathen, we were scattered among the heathen. We were scattered among the heathen. All right, and when we're among the heathen, all right, we're gonna be getting with women that look like this. All right, or women that look like this. All right, are all different types. All right, that's also the same way you get speckled birds. All right, is the same way you really get tares. Okay, because it's the same way with Edomites. Okay, you might be an Edomite, and now here it is, you're a heathen. You're a heathen. You're an Edomite. And now you have these Israelites that are scattered. They're scattered from their land around you now. And you see the Jake woman, knowing they're bad as hell with their big fat asses, right? I'll calm down. And you say, oh, I'm gonna try to get with her. I'm gonna try to get with her. And her being, fucked up in her state of mind, all right, as a coon ass, hating herself ass, Jake woman, all right, gets with the oppressor, all right. They pop out a couple of babies, and now those babies are real light looking, all right. Now they grow up, all right, and they get with, Slakia, those babies are real dark looking, Slakia. Those babies are real dark looking now. Now they're a little chocolate baby, all right? And now they grow up, and they get with another black woman, dark-skinned black woman, all right? And now those babies are really dark. They look like Wesley Snipes, all right? But their grandfather was an Edomite. So they're an Edomite, right? We're going to prove that in Numbers 1:18. And it also works the other way around. Like I said, it works both ways. You might have a Israelite that gets with a white woman, all right? And then that baby comes out a little bit lighter, all right? A little bit too much creamer in the coffee. And that coffee creamer baby, all right, gets with another white woman. And now, boom, Patrick Mahomes, all right? You know, look at Patrick Mahomes, all right? And really, he's got a little bit of his color left, okay? There's other cases. Does he have a son? Here you go. Look at that. That is a little white girl. That is a little white girl right there. All right. Look at that. Look at the two babies. Those are little white babies. All right. But that's their father. And Patrick Mahomes' father is this guy right here. All right. So there you go. But you would never tell, all right, that this baby is a black baby. You'd never tell. You'd never know. Ever, man. Ever. And if you say you could tell, oh, you're bullshitting, man. You would never know. All right? Look at it right here. All right? You would never be able to tell. Ever. Look. Same with the boy. You'd never be able to tell, man. That looks like just like a little white girl. Right? So that shows you, man, within just 2 generations, there's no melanin in the skin, and she's got blue eyes just like her mother. All right, or like whatever color eye that is. All right, and then Patrick Mahomes, I don't think his eyes are brown. Are they? What color is his eyes? Are they brown? They're brown, but they're light brown. So it shows you, man. It goes to show you. And Brittany Mahomes, she's an Edomite. She's an Edomite, but it doesn't matter because it's about what the father is. Now we can get into Numbers 1 and 18. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the 2nd month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. By the house of their fathers, right? According to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. So let's go and look at pedigree. What is a pedigree? Okay, and it's gonna show dog food. I guess not. Pedigree. All right, a pedigree refers to the documented ancestry or lineage of something, particularly in animals and humans, often used to track traits and conditions through generations. All right, now if we get the definition, all right, definition. All right, you're gonna see some words down here. It says the recorded ancestry, especially upper class and ancestry, because it's true, we're royal priesthood, right? A royal priesthood. We can get that. Right here. 1 Peter 2 and 9, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people. You're different, right? That you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Yahweh, all right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So, chosen, royal, all right? So, upper class ancestry, that's us. All right, so it's our pedigree is the recorded ancestry, right, of upper class ancestry. Now, if you go to similar words, you're going to see some words here: ancestry, descent, lineage. All right, you're going to see heritage, origin, race, bloodline, roots. All right, your race, your ethnicity, all right, comes from your father. Right here, Numbers 1 and 18, your father. Okay, now let's see if we'll get this in the Bible Gateway. It might butcher it. Let's see. Let's get it in the NLT. It said, see, I don't like this because it completely removes that it was done by the Father. Look at that. Numbers 1 and 18 in the NLT says, and they assembled the whole community of Israel on that very day. All the people were registered according to their ancestry by their clans and families. The men of Israel who were 20 years old or older were listed one by one. That sucks. That's terrible. They removed the whole point. All right, let's get the let's get the NIV. See, that one sucks too. All right, they butchered the scripture. They ruined it. All right, that's a terrible breakdown. All right, let's see the GNT or the here it is. Yeah, see, these are all terrible. All terrible. All right. They're all terrible because they lost the original meaning. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so this is it in the original Hebrew. 1 and 18. Yeah, right here in the English. And the whole assembly assembled together in the second month, and they were numbered by their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of their names. And from here it says from 10 years old and upward, all right, to Golgotha. So that's what it says in the Torah, all right. So I put the Torah in because I wanted to see it in the Hebrew, all right. And you can see it right here. It's the same thing. All right, we'll go and get that. Hebrew to English. All right. And they, 1 and 18. All right, here we are, Numbers 1 and 18. And they gathered all the congregation together in the second month, and they were numbered after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of their, according to the number of names from 20 years old and upward, according to their polls. All right, so there you go. Two different versions, and it both mentions the father. But in all these other translations, they just see to remove that. Why? And you know why. It's to push a motive. All right, they don't want you to know that. That's not something they want you to know. But if you go to the generations, what book is that in? Generations of Jesus. Matthew 1. You go to Matthew 1, you're going to see something. A little touchy. The book of generations, the book of the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach, son of David, son of Abraham, okay? Or the world would ignorantly say Jesus Christ, right? So listen here and notice that it's all men. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Judas and his brethren. And Judas begat Pharez and Zara of Tamar, and Pharez begat Ezram, and Ezram begat Aram, and Aram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Naasan, and Naasan begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Booz of Rechab, and Booz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her that had been the wife of Urias. Again, it's saying who it was. They begat the son, and the son was born from what wife, if they had multiple wives, or so on and so forth. Oops, like it. And Solomon begat Robam, and Robam begat Abiah, and Abiah begat Asa, and Asa begat Josaphat, and Josaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Ozias, and Ozias begat Joatham, and Joatham begat Achaz, and Achaz begat Ezekias. Might be butchering some of these names, I'm not the best with it. And Ezekias begat Manasseh, and Manasseh begat Ammon, and Ammon begat Josias. And Josias begat Jechonias and his brethren about the time they were carried away to Babylon. And after they were brought to Babylon, Jechonias begat Salathiel, and Salathiel begat Jorababel, and Jorababel begat Abuid, Abuid begat Eliakim, and Eliakim begat Azor, and Azor begat Sadok, and Sadok begat Achim, and Achim begat Eluid, and Eluid begat Eleazar, and Eleazar begat Mathan, and Mathan begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushai, who was called Hamashiach. So there you go. Men. Okay? There you go. Men. Shows you. From man to man, to this man, he had this son, to this man, all right, because, you are essentially, you're your father, all right? So, and it's not just in the generations of Yahushai, Hamashiach, that this is done. This is done in all the generations that you can find throughout the Bible, all right? You can go and look them up, right? It's always talking about men being begat, all right? It doesn't mention the daughters at all. Okay, some of them had daughters, but they don't mention them, right? Why? Because it's one. It's about the men, because the men carry the bloodline. The men carry the seed line. Okay. Now the daughters, they are of that seed line, but they can't bring it forth. They can't continue it. All right. They bring whatever man that they end up getting with seed line forth. Okay. So that's something you need to understand, and that's how you end up with things like tares and speckled bird. Okay. So let's get 1 Samuel 16:7. Then we're going to talk about tares. Well, no, we're going to talk about tares first. Let's get Matthew 13:24. Okay, which is that parable. Matthew 13:24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven, right, is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. Good seed is a pure seed, all right? It doesn't have any, if you're planting strawberries, it's just strawberries, okay? You're not going to accidentally get blueberries in it. It's not mixed seed. It's not a low-quality seed. It's good seed. 100% strawberries, 100% good, guaranteed, right? They germinate well, all right, which is, they sprout well, all right, and they go in the ground and they grow like mad. They're great. In this case, wheat, okay? You bought wheat, all right? You bought wheat seed, okay? And it's 100% pure wheat seed. There's nothing else in it, all right? Good seed, good seed, right? The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. Sowed means, planted, right? It says, but while men slept, while they were sleeping, right, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Why they were unaware, okay, someone came in with a handful of tare seed, all right, and tare is like wheat, all right, you can go look up tare, all right, they look very similar, all right, wheat and tares, and they took a bunch of, seeds of tares, and threw it in, right among the wheat, right? But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, time for harvest, right, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder, and in this case, the householder would be, Yahushai, all right, or another one would be the husbandman, all right, the husbandman, all right, the farmer, the husbandman, in this case, Yahushai, all right, and he has, Yahushai has Israelites, right? They look a certain way, but tares, all right, they, from Esau getting with the simple Jake woman, all right, that's how a tare can be brought forth, all right, so that's why you, so-called black women shouldn't be getting with these Edomites, man, because what you're doing is you're really bringing forth confusion, all right, because that's a form of confusion, okay, and you're not supposed to be getting with the enemy, all right, it's ridiculous. You're bringing forth his seed line if you have a baby. It's not a little black baby, all right, it's a little chocolate-covered Edomite, all right, that ain't gonna like black people. He's not gonna like himself. He's not gonna like you, all right. So the servants of the householder came, the people that helped around, like the farm, right? So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did thou not sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? They said, Sir, what type of seed did you use? Did you use like bad quality seed? Because there's tares everywhere. All right, there's tares. This shouldn't be happening. In verse 28, it says, here we go, he said unto them, an enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then we go and gather them up? So he said, no, I used good seed. An enemy has done this. They came through and they planted these tares amongst my wheat. And the servants said, well, do you want us to go and rip up those tares and get them out of here? Right? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. He said, no, don't do it, because they're very similar looking. And if you go and do that, you might end up accidentally getting some of the wheat. Okay? And I want all the wheat. All right? I can't, not one single strand of wheat can be damaged. I need that. All right? And he said, on top of that, Matthew 13:30, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, right? Get rid of them, right? And bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn, right? So there you go, man. It's because they look so similar. All right, going back to a tare and wheat. All right, tare versus wheat, they look so similar. All right, and yeah, there's slight differences. All right, that if you were a husbandman, a farmer, that you'd be able to tell. All right, but the average person just walking by wouldn't be able to tell the difference. All right, so especially from a distance. Okay, so but there are ways to tell a tare from a wheat. You examine them and you can see, and they're not good for it. That's the other thing is you can't do anything with tares. All right, wheat can be used for bread, a bunch of other stuff. You can't do it. Tares are a weed. They're useless. Okay, so that's essentially what it is. And right here you can see tares look identical to wheat. Okay, tares look identical to wheat. And you can be a spiritual tare as well. All right, it doesn't always have to be a bloodline. All right, through your bloodline, you can just be an Israelite, but you don't act like it. So essentially, you're likened to a tare as well, right? So, and you would never be able to tell just by looking at someone. I mean, now you can because people dress all fucking crazy. All right, but it's really hard to tell on average. But if you examine, you can tell. If you weigh it through the spirit, you can tell. Be like, I don't think this person's an Israelite. I think this person's a tare. All right, and they're gonna look the same. All right, they're gonna look the same. All right, roughly exactly the same. So you're not gonna be able to just tell by just looking at them. Now, sometimes I feel sometimes you can tell by facial expression. Okay, sometimes. There's a thing that me and my wife have. We call it tare face. And let me show you. These are the Hodge twins. They're Edomites. Okay, I believe their dad's white. And Hodge twins, you are not black DNA results. That's funny. If that's the case. But I don't want to see it almost. But yeah, these guys exhibit tare face. All right, and I can't explain what it is, but you can just look at them and be like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think they're Jakes at all. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You can just be like, I don't know. I don't think so. Right? There's just something there. All right, and you see a lot with like there's just something there, man. Like you see if you look at black conservatives. All right, some of these, they could be Jakes. Candace Owens, perfect example of a tare. I wouldn't say she's got tare face too much. She just looks like a simple black woman, but she's an Edomite. Got to be an Edomite. All right, she's a coon. All right, she's either a super coon or an Edomite. I think she's an Edomite. All right, I know other people that think that she's an Edomite as well. Who was another person I believe is an Edomite is Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, this guy right here. All right, I do in fact believe this guy is an Edomite as well. Okay, it's simple as that. I believe who else? Trying to think of some famous. I believe Beyonce. All right, I know people who say Beyonce. I believe Beyonce is an Edomite. I do. Again, you don't have to take my word for anything. This isn't set in stone. I'm just saying that this is what I thoroughly do believe. I believe she's an Edomite. All right, and her bloodline goes back to these Edomites. All right. I also believe 50-50 that Diddy could in fact be an Edomite. All right. I'm not sure on that one though. 50-50. I don't really know. I'm leaning towards probably. I don't know. He just music wasn't that great anyway, right? Jay-Z. There's another one I think could possibly be an Edomite, and I know people are like, no, Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z fucking sucked. I didn't think he was good at all. Those are some of the people I think that that could be Edomites. And then there's people that and then there's people that, for example, Apostle Gabar, he doesn't think necessarily that he is. All right. I think that he possibly could be. Now, Lenny Kravitz's dad, all right, was a Ashkenazi Jewish. All right, and again, the brothers, apostles, they're gonna have different. It's not, if it's not scriptural, right? It's certain things, they might think that someone may or may not be. That's our stipulation. Okay, that's not something that you don't have to agree that Beyonce is an Edomite or is not an Edomite. All right, that's not something that's scriptural. You're not disagreeing with like law. Okay, that's not something you have to agree with. It's again, and they'll even tell you it's within our personal opinion, right? Like here's another. I forgot. Speaking of the apostles, Elvis. All right, that's an Israelite. All right, right there, Elvis. All right. Now, I personally do not think that Lenny Kravitz is, all right, an Israelite. I know Apostle Gabar, I think he mentioned that he thinks he could be. I'm not sure. He could be, he could not be. I really don't know. I know he's got a couple catchy songs, but the thing that makes me lean towards Edomite is he's weird, man. He's like really weird. I can't explain. I do this whole shit about like, no sex and all that stuff. I don't know. He's weird. He's a weird guy, Lenny Kravitz. I don't know. And then but yeah, man. So it's one of those things you're gonna have people that, and we're not gonna know. All right. The even amongst the apostles, they might disagree between each other of who they think may or may not be, right? And at the end of the day, we have really no good way to know. All right, we can't, it's not like Scooby-Doo. We can just pull off their mask, be like, aha, I knew it was these Edomites, right? No, there's not a way we can do it unless it's really, really apparent. All right, really, really apparent. Now, there's signs, but there's no way to be 100% sure unless in certain special scenarios, right? So, yeah, man. And again, you can't go off of appearance. You just can't go off of appearance. Let's get pretty much ready to close out. It's probably been, how long we've been? 30, 40 minutes? 42 minutes? We'll get one more and then we'll go ahead and close out. We're gonna get 1 Samuel 16. No, let's see. I will get that. Let's get 2 Timothy first. 2:19. And it reads, 2 Timothy 2:19, nevertheless, the foundation of Yahweh standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. And let every one that nameth the name of Hamashiach depart from iniquity. So the Lord knows who are his. All right. We might have stipulations on, this person might be an Israelite, this person might not. And that's not, again, that's our opinion. So you can throw that out. All right. That's not, you're not going to, Lord's not going to mess you up because you think that, Elvis isn't an Israelite. I mean, he is. It's pretty clear, but it's not something that's pure scriptural. All right. And at the end of the day, if you don't believe it, you don't believe it. It's going to be revealed in time anyway. Right. Once we're not going to it's not like we're going to walk up and meet Elvis, but we're going to, all these people that are Israelites or not, it's going to be revealed when either they're saved or they're not, or they're, in the kingdom as an Israelite or not. And we're not going to know, oh, that's Elvis. That used to be Elvis. But we might not necessarily know, but it's all going to be put into line. It doesn't really matter if we agree or not, all right, with if you think that George Carlin is or isn't an Israelite. He is, all right? But, again, certain people might have disagreements, all right? And you can't have a disagreement on Scripture, all right? But as a matter of opinion, yeah, you might not necessarily think so, all right? Scripture's non-debatable, all right? Opinions can be debated, all right? So there's times, like when I first watched the video that Apostle Gabar made about Elvis, all right, before I watched that lesson, I thought Elvis was an Edomite. I said, this guy's an Edomite, he's a culture vulture, more than likely a parrot, all right, that just learned how to steal Jake culture. And then after watching that lesson, I got to say, my mind was changed. I said, you know what, that's true. That's a lot of good point. All right. So yeah, man. But yeah, 2 Timothy 2:19 shows you that the Lord knows who are his. All right. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get confused. All right. You don't have to worry. Oh, I'm white looking. The Lord's going to confuse. No, you're not going to get confused. The Lord knows who his people are. Okay. And then, finally, let's get, 1 Samuel, and that's what we'll close out with. 1 Samuel 16 and 7. 1 Samuel 16:7. It reads, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." So that's what you need to understand, that sometimes our manly human like vision can be deceiving to us, all right, because it's just appearance. All right, you don't judge based on appearance. You base, like the Lord says, the Lord looketh on the heart. You have to try these people. All right, if they come up on your comment board and they look, or at a camp, and they look like a so-called white person in either person or in a profile picture, they could still be an Israelite. All right, and a so-called black person that comes up, all right, or on the comment board, or on a camp, all right, could be an Edomite. You just don't know. All right, in mixed match, they're all mixed match. A white-looking person could really go back to Ishmael and be an Arabic person. There was a guy I used to work with that, he was in the I think the Iraq War back in the day, and found Islam. All right, and I think that guy, I don't think he was an Edomite necessarily. He might have been an Edomite, 50-50, but I think maybe he could have had a chance of just being Ishmael. All right, so it's one of those things where you just got to try them by their spirits. You got to weigh it. You got to see how they act, see how they move. All right, are they receptive, are they not receptive? All right, and go through it that way, right? So let me skip that. But yeah, man, so that's the lesson, right? Again, I think it's just going to be called I think the lesson's just going to be titled "On the Topic of Tares and Speckled Birds," or on the topic of speckled birds and tares. Right, so we're going to close out with that. Lord, when it was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakakbadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.